Hi, welcome to another math video and you're watching Celltomic. Today we are learning about highest common factor and lowest common multiple. If you've not watched our prime factorization video, I highly recommend you to go watch it first because it's actually linked to whatever we're going to cover today. So you can find the prime factorization video in the link below or in the top right hand corner. So go watch that video first before you watch this. Okay, so last time we covered prime factorization and now we're going to learn how to apply that. Highest common factor, or also known as HCF in short, is actually finding the largest whole number, which is a factor of two or more numbers, depending on what we have in the question. So a factor is actually the numbers that multiply up to make up another number. Here we're supposed to find the factors of 20. So what numbers multiply together to make 20? We have 1 and 20. And we also have 4 and 5. So factors of 30, we have 1 and 30. And then we have 5 and 6. So from here we can see that the highest common factor between 20 and 30 is 5. 5, 5. So the highest common factor is 5. So this is one way we can find the highest common factor, and it's by listing all the factors that make up a number. This way is a little bit tedious if the number is very big. So now we're going to learn the prime factorization trick. So there are two ways to do it. So we're going to do the first way. So the first way is that we're going to find the prime factors of these two numbers, 60 and 70. So if you have watched our video last week, you will know how to do this. So 60 is divided by 2 is 2, we get 30, 2 again, we get 15, and then divided by 3, and we get 5, and then we have 5, and then 1, and then we're done. So 60 is equals to 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. Okay, so now we're going to do it for 72. So 72 divided by 2 is 36, divided by 2 is 18, divided by 2 is 9, and then 3 is 3, and then 3, and 1. And then we're done for 72. So this is the factors of 72. So 72 equals to 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. Okay, so in order to find the highest common factor, we're now going to find the numbers that repeat the same number of times. So what does this mean? So we can see that both 60 and 70 divided by 2 once, twice, and not a third time. Because only 72 is able to divide by 2 one more time, but 60 isn't able. So we move on to 3. You can see it divides by 3 one time. And that's all. Because 72 can divide by 3 again, but 60 can't. And 60 can divide by 5, but 72 can't. So now we're going to take the numbers that we've circled, which is this one, and this one. So HCF is equals to 2 times 2 times 3, which is equals to 12. So that's one way to find the highest common factor using prime factorization. Now we're going to use another trick to find the highest common factor. So in this way, we're going to find the prime factors at the same time. So what does this mean? Meaning we're going to find both 60 and 72 at the same time. And we'll do so until we reach a point where we can not divide them by the same prime number anymore. So we'll start with the first prime number, which is 2. 60 and 72 can divide by 2. So we write 2, draw the next line, and then this is 30, and this is 36. 30 and 36, they can both divide by 2 again. So we write 2, draw a long line, and write 15 and 18. Can both 15 and 18 divide by 2 again? We realize that 15 is not able to, but 18 can. So we cannot divide by 2 anymore. So we have to move on to the next prime number. So the next prime number is 3. 15 can divide by 3 and 18 can divide by 3. So we continue with 3. So at this point, we're going to get 5 and 6. Can 5 divide by 3? We can't. Can 6 divide by 3? We can. So since at this step, we can no longer divide both numbers by the same prime number, because 5 can only divide by 5 and 6 can be divided by 2 and 3, we stop. So now we look at the left hand side. Our highest common factor would be multiples of these 3 numbers here. So HCF is equals to 2 times 2 times 3 equals to 12. So we get our highest common factor. So this is another way you can try to find your highest common factor. Okay, so now take some time to try this example. Okay, for this example, we're actually going to use the first method to solve it. So let's find the prime factors first. So 52, 25, and then 5, and 5 again. So 50 is equals to 2 times 5 times 5. Now let's try to find the prime factors of 70. So 70 is divided by 2. We get 35. 35 can't divide by 2. We move on to 3. 35 can't divide by 3. So we move on to the next number, which is 5. So 35 divided by 5 is 5. 35 divided by 5 is 7. And then 7 cannot divide by 5. So we move on to the next number, which is 7. So it's 7 and 1. So 70 is equals to 2 times 5 times 7. So now we find the numbers again. So we have 2 and we have 5. And then 5 and 7 are two different numbers, so we stop. So that's why the HCF of 50 and 70 is 2 times 5, which is 10. And that's how we find the highest common factor for both 50 and 70. Okay, now we move on to lowest common multiple. Sorry, not factor, but multiple. So lowest common multiple is actually the smallest whole number, which is the multiple of both numbers. So our example, we have 12 and 15, and we're going to do the listing method again first. We're going to list the first 10 multiples of 12 and 15. So 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72, 84, 96, 108, and 120. So that's the first 10 multiples of 15. Of 12. That's the first 10 multiples of 12. Now we're going to find the first 10 multiples of 15. So it's 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, 105, 120, 135, and 150. The common multiple are numbers that appear in both the list in 12 and the list in 15. So what we find is 60 and 120. However, the lowest common multiple is 60, because that's the smallest one. 120 is bigger than 60, so we use 60 as the lowest common multiple. Okay, so now we're going to use the prime factorization trick to find the lowest common multiple of 60 and 72. So earlier we know that 60 is actually made up of 2 times 2 times 3 times 5, and 72 is equals to 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. And we know that the HCF of the two numbers is 12. So the lowest common multiple is actually just taking the highest common factor of the two numbers and multiplying the numbers that we did not use. So what does this mean? So we know that 12 is made up using this 2, and this 3 here. So what are the numbers that are not used? Numbers that are not used are the 2 here, the 5 here, and the 3 here. So we take the numbers we haven't used, which is 2 times 3 times 5, and we multiply it by 12. So the lowest common multiple is actually 360. So now we'll show you how we can do it too. Lowest common multiple. So this is what we did earlier, right? 2, and then we get 30 and 36, and we did 2 again to get 15 and 18, and we divide by 3 to get 5 and 6. So earlier I said the lowest common multiple is equals to the highest common factor multiplied by the remaining numbers. Therefore, we're going to take the numbers here, multiply by the numbers here. So lowest common multiple is equals to 2 times 2 times 3 times 5 times 6, which is equals to 360. So that's how we find the lowest common multiple. Okay, so now take some time to try this example. So this is the same example we use for the highest common factor, so you can use the same working to find your lowest common multiple. Okay, from the earlier example, we know that 50 is 2 times 5 times 5, and 70 is 2 times 5 times 7. So I'm going to circle our highest common factor in green. So we know what our highest common factor is, and then we do the same trick. Lowest common multiple is equals to highest common factor times the remaining number. So highest common factor is 2 times 5, and the remaining numbers are 5 and 7. Therefore, the lowest common multiple is 350. You managed to get the answer? If you did, now we're going to move on to a lowest common multiple word problem. So in situations like this, we need to use lowest common multiple. So the question states that we have 2 alarms that play music after a fixed amount of time. So one alarm plays once every 56 minutes, while the other plays one every 60 minutes. So if both alarms are played at the same time, when will be the next time when both alarms are played together again? So this is actually asking us to find the lowest common multiple, because we want to know when the next time we can hear them play both together again. Now first we need to find the prime factors of 56 and 60. So 56 and 60. We can divide both by 2 to get 28 and 30. We can divide by 2 again, and this gives us 14 and 15. Okay, at this time we realize there are no more common prime numbers that both 14 and 15 are divisible by, so we stop. Now we use the lowest common multiple, which is here times here. So it is 2 times 2 times 14 times 15, and that gives us 420. So this means that they will both play music at the same time 420 minutes later. So that's all we have for our video today. Hope you have learned how to find highest common factor and lowest common multiple using the prime factorization technique. In the next math video, we will learn how to transform a number into squares and cubes using prime factorization. So subscribe if you do not want to miss that video, and see you in the next video. And remember to always stay curious.